Welcome back. So glad that you joined me. When was the last time that we actually took a true look at what was going on with our attitude? Not just taking a look, but maybe even more asking yourself what we need to do to put it back in check. Now, the problem happens when we look at it where sometimes we need to look at putting it back into check both ways. Sometimes our attitude can be so good that it causes problems, or so bad that it causes problems on the other end, which, to be honest with you, it sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? That we need to make sure that we're putting things in a check so that we're not going into extremes. But at the same time, when we really look at it, it's not really silly at all. It's something that God continues to call us to. This is something that it's important that we're watching what we're doing, but more than that, that we're seeing how it's affecting others and also how it's affecting us as well. So often as we're reading our Bibles, we're looking at the stories of times gone past, and we say to ourselves, well, we wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. Where too often that's exactly the extreme that we go running into, thinking that we can do whatever we want because we're doing it in the name of God. Just because we're using God's name and using his banner doesn't mean that he's called us to do certain things. God continues to remind us throughout the scriptures not just to use the intellect that he's given us, but that we're listening fully to make sure that we're following his command and following the lead as it is in him. Too often on both sides of the extreme, when we go into the extreme, we settle into pride and we slip and we fall. Now, we see this not just in the scriptures, we see this in everyday life, we see this in other stories. And it's for us to remember that we've been given these examples in the here and now so that we're able to live better lives that are in him. If we're not truly grounded, and we've talked about this multiple times, if we're not truly grounded in him, we're going to be found without. And if we're found without, we have no hope at all. It's important that we're doing what he's called us to do, being who he's called us to be, so that we're able to go forward in him. Even talking about that actually brings us to our devotional verse for this week, which is found in Proverbs chapter 16, looking at verse 18. And it says this: pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before stumbling. How true it is. The very fact that our problems start, are the center, and end with pride. The whole concept of pride is literally, it is an I problem. We're so focused on the self that we've lost track, we've lost focus on what God is really calling us to do, who he's calling us to be. We need to make sure that he is right there beside us every step of the way, guiding us, showing us where we are to go, so that we're able to be the people that he continues to call us to be. Many of us are going to say, well, that's easier said than done. Yes, that's true. It is easier said than done. But remember this, even with saying that, Jesus promised that he would be with us always. That means a never-ending promise of being by our side, and even more than just that, carrying us. Let's remember that. Let's bank on that as we continue to study the stories, listen for his voice, and continue to walk together as one. Thank you again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time as we continue to study God's Word together. God bless.